Om Prakash Valmiki is a renowned Indian novelist and poet who is one among those who laid the foundation for Dalit literature in Hindi. Born into the untouchable Chura community of western Uttar Pradesh, the politics of segregation is not new for the writer. The ordained job of people in the Chura community was to serve the upper caste Tyagi Brahmins. The Churas were forced to live outside the village reserved for upper caste people as they were considered polluted. The pain of social discrimination and inhuman exploitation that he experienced during his Dalit identity is reflected in almost all his writings. The poem What Would You Do, translated from Hindi by Pratik Kanjilal, is pitted against the dehumanizing laws that are imposed by Dalits by the upper caste. By challenging the self-proclaimed descendants of gods, Brahmins, to live the life of a Dalit, he revolts against the age-old injustices that Dalits experience in the society. The poem What Would You Do by Om Prakash Valmiki, narrated by Dr. Premanand M.E. If you are thrown out of your village, cannot draw water from the well, are abused in the screaming, echoing afternoon, told to break stones in place of real work, are given leaves to eat, what would you do? If you are told to drag away animal carcasses and carry away the filth of a whole family, given hand-me-downs to wear, what would you do? If you are kept far from books, far from the threshold of the temple of learning, if you are hung up like Jesus on a blackened wall in the light of an oil lamp, what would you do? If you have to live in a hut of mud and straw, which can be flattened by a breath or swept away in a night of rain, if you are told to sleep in knee-deep water, what would you do? If you have to swim against the current, to open the doors of pain and do battle with hunger, send your newlywed woman to the landlord's mansion on the first night, what would you do? If you are denied in your own land, made slave labor, stripped of your rights, your civilization burned away, the pages of your glorious history and thrown away, what would you do? If you cannot vote, are beaten bloody, beaten in the name of democracy, and at every step reminded of how insignificant your race is. If your life stinks, if your hands are raw, and yet they tell you, dig canals, dig drains, what would you do? If you are insulted in public, your property is snatched away. In the name of religion, your women told to become devadasis and made prostitutes, what would you do? Your fair complexion would be burned black. Your eyes would be dry, dead. You could not write on paper Satyam Shivam Sundaram, descendants of the gods. You would be lame, a cripple, if you have to live thus for ages like me. What would you do? Thank you. Please subscribe, and especially to the playlist A05, Readings on Indian Literatures. Thank you.